Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Trevor. Trevor is an actor from California in the USA. So let's see what Trevor has to say. Enjoy the interview.
Hey,
Hello. Hello Trevor, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thanks so much. Thanks for taking the time today for the interview. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Of course, William.
So how's your day been so far, Trevor?
So far, so good. Just watching some Netflix with my boyfriend, having a lazy Sunday on the couch, even though it's not Sunday.
And tell me, so where do you live? Where are you from, Trevor?
I'm originally from Buffalo, New York, but I live here in Silver Lake, east of Los Angeles here.
So why the move from New York to Los Angeles to LA?
I actually moved here for my acting career. At the time, I was 20. I was a pre-med student at SUNY Geneseo in Rochester. But I grew up doing a lot of theater as a kid, and I had the opportunity to come to LA, and I took it. I wasn't in the best, happiest place in my life, so I kind of decided this is something I need to do for myself. I'm so glad I did.
I see. And all your family are back in New York?
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Sorry. There we go. We should
Great.
be good.
Yeah. So your family all back in New York?
Yeah, they're in New York. I'm actually going to be seeing them in a couple weeks. I go back once or twice a year. They're in upstate, close to Niagara Falls.
Amazing. Oh, wow. Before we start the game, Trevor, tell me a little bit about your career as an artist. Walk me through since we started and what do you like the most about it?
Sure. My career as an artist has been ebbs and flows. I've been out in California for 12 years now, and it's been exhilarating, to say the least. I don't know that I could last in a 9-to-5, Monday through Friday cubicle job, but it's one of those things where it's like a gamble, like you really have to believe in yourself, and it's exciting to know that what I put in is what I get out, and there's no sure shot. It's one of the least successful industries. I want to say I've heard a statistic where there's 13% success rate, so you either have to be crazy or you really have to love it, and it's one of those things that I really love. So, and I am a little crazy, so.
And do you think that the place where you live now, LA, is the place for a career? Who wants to be an artist? Who wants to, thrive for it? Is the best place in the US? Yeah,
it's definitely the place to network and grow a family of industry friends. There is a lot of work now in Atlanta, lots of work in New York, all around the States. There's tax breaks that have given little bursts of industry life. I know there's a lot of work in Atlanta. I'm actually looking for an agent right now in Atlanta because I'd love to get some work over there. But I mean, LA is still the hub of the entertainment industry. I know a lot of production companies will film out of LA because of tax breaks, like I said. But you still have the major studios here.
I see. All right. Yeah. So before we start our journey, William the Magic Box, I know you've been working on this beautiful project called The Disappointment. Yeah.
Yeah.
That series. So tell me a little bit about it before we start our journey.
Yeah, The Disappointments. It was a nice surprise. Let's see. I'll start with Rich, the director, this is a passion project of his. He's been a writer in Hollywood here for 20 plus years. This has been a side project of his that he's been wanting to get off the ground. And just these past few years, he's been able to get it off the ground. He had other characters in mind for the part that he played, but they turned it down because of lack of funds. This project wasn't backed by any major production company. It was funded by crowdfunding. And with that, we had to kind of cut corners and and whatnot. And it was a SAG buyout project, where with the SAG buyout project, instead of getting paid at the beginning, we get paid when it gets sold. So it's a gamble, but it gives independent production companies the opportunity to make something and make something of it. Kind of like Schitt's Creek. Schitt's Creek is a prime example of that. They made it and then they sold it and they got paid. With this, he actually had another character cast for my character, another actor cast for my character, Tom Berkman. And Tom Berkman ended up booking a role on Broadway and was like, hey, Rich, I'm really sorry. I just booked this really great role on Broadway. And he's like, no problem at all. So he ended up flying to New York and he's like, shoot, I need to recast Dwight. And a friend of his actually recommended me. So he came into the bar that I work at on a Wednesday and he just came in to kind of like scope me out, just kind of read my vibe. And of course, I see this handsome, muscular daddy come into the bar, and he didn't really have a chance to stay like a fly on the wall because he ordered a couple beers, and I was the bartender to take care of him. I was like, "Hey, how can I help you?" Got him his beers, and I'm like, I see he's wearing a shirt, and I'm like, "Oh, what does your shirt say?" Just making small conversation, and it happened to be a Disappointments T-shirt.
Wow.
And he's like, "Oh, it's a project that I'm a creator and writer of." I was like, "Oh wow, congratulations, that's awesome." And he's like, "Yeah, as a matter of fact, you know Tom Berkman." And I'm like, Tom Berkman. At the time, I could not remember who Tom Berkman was because a name out of the dark. I was just like, he's like, "Yeah, he actually did a scene with you. You were fighting on the beach, and you were this and that." And I was like, "Oh," I was like, I know exactly who Tom Berkman is because I worked with him on a project, and B, he knows who I am because he just referenced a project I did. Right. I was like, "Oh, this isn't some stranger. This guy knows who I am." And he's like, "Yeah, as a matter of fact, Tom just accepted a role on Broadway. I cast him as one of the characters in my show. Now I have to recast him." I was like, "Okay." It was like the elephant in the room. I was like, "Are you looking? What's your plan?" He's like, "Actually, someone referred you to me." I was like, "Oh, awesome." I was like, "Wow, cool." I was like, he's like, "Yeah, so what should we do? How about you send me the script and I'll read it, and then we go from there." So he sent me the script. We met for coffee a week later, met for coffee again, met again, and then before you know it, I was part of the project. And then as we started filming, I became his acting coach and co-producer, and yeah, it ended up being real joy. I was able to wear many hats, which is something I don't have the opportunity working on projects, because normally big budgets and big productions, you are just cast to do that one job, you know. But here I was able to really shine doing other things, which is great. It's what I want to direct and act and write and produce. So it was just a real joy to be able to do this on this project.
Amazing. All right, so through the game, I'm going to explore more a little bit about the project and also about your character called Deuts, yes?
Yes.
Right, Trevor, are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and to share your
let's do it.
Amazing. Yeah, welcome to William and the Magic Box. So this is my full of random fun questions, okay? I'm just gonna play a song now just for us to get a bit in the mood before the first question, right? Let's do it. Okay, Trevor, so before we start the game, through the journey, if there is a question that you don't want to talk about for some reason, you don't want to answer, always can change, okay? It's all very friendly, right? First question for you is, what do you consider most romantic?
Oh, it's not like A or B. I have to just tell you what I think is most romantic. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I got you. Okay. Define romance.
I mean, what is your opinion? What you think, in your opinion? Okay, what do you find the most romantic?
No, I know. In the heteronormal world, romance would be like chocolate flowers, but in my world, romance is like, you know what I find very romantic is when my boyfriends will surprise me with some fun, especially when I'm having a rough day. You know, I don't like surprises, but if the surprise is a little get together with a couple sexy buddies, I'm all for that.
Do you consider yourself to be a romantic person?
Again, what romance is to me is not for other people.
Yeah, no rules. I think there are no rules. You know,
I am a romantic person. Yeah. I'm thoughtful. Yeah. I'm a very romantic person. I like to take care of people. I have the quality of being a caretaker. So I like to feed my friends. I like to make them drinks. You know, I like to host. I like to make sure they're having a good time. So I would consider that romantic.
very good. Good one.
Yeah.
Next question. Let's do it. Next question for you is, what's the worst pickup line have you ever heard? My God, I'm sure you are such a good looking guy. I'm sure you hear a lot.
I've heard a lot, and there's some I wish I would have written down because I'm like, wow, does that one really work? Because I will call them out. Oh God, I don't remember. I think the worst is like the obvious, which I've gotten a lot, which are like, oh bro, like how much do you bench? They want to talk about like my body or physicality, which has been done before and redundant and not really like, I like interesting conversation. Small talk would be the worst pickup line ever. You know, I think working in a bar and knowing a lot of people in general, I think the worst way to get my attention is small talk. So if you can be weird and nerdy, that would be the best way to pick me up. But I think the worst pickup line is just like talking about fitness or like the way I look. You know, it's one of those things where like, okay, I don't find you very interesting, so you just lost your first impression chance.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And saying that, Trevor, for you, if you go to, let's say, to a club or to a public place, I know you're in a relationship right now, but let's say you're single. Which kind of guy is going to get your attention without saying anything, usually?
Oh, yeah. I mean, whether I'm in a relationship or single, I don't, I'm in a relationship. It doesn't mean I can't play around with other boys. I don't need to be single to play around with other boys. That's why I love my relationship, because I can have my cake and eat it, which is kind of what I was kind of getting to when I said what I find very romantic is when my boyfriends curate a fun time with other boys. We like to play around.
I see.
Yeah, we are not monogamous by any means, but we do have really good communication and honesty. So we share everything about each other and our wants and our needs. But what was the question again?
No, it just answered about which kind of guy is gonna get your attention, even though I mean you're in a relationship, but you can play around.
Usually, I mean, I used to think I had a type, and I definitely still have certain qualities that I do like physically. But the older I get, and the more experience I have, the more I realize I don't have a type. So it's usually the swagger and the confidence that somebody has. You know, I do gravitate towards furry guys, a little taller, a little gifted in many ways.
Oops, let's go for the second. Let's go.
I like a guy with experience too.
And before the question, as you are in a triple relationship, what's the most challenging part in your opinion?
You know, we've been together for almost 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And the beautiful part about it is we were friends before for several years, you know. Okay. So it wasn't like a common gay relationship where you meet this person and you want to jump into a relationship right away, and then you're committed to this person that you barely know. I find that very foolish and reckless, and it's something that we've all done, something I've done at least in my past relationships. And after my last relationship prior to this one, I told myself, you know what, the next relationship that I get into is going to be someone that I've known for at least a year. So I'm not jumping into a relationship with a stranger, because, you know, that often doesn't work out because I get to know them after 6 months to a year. I'm like, I don't want to be with this person, or I don't even want to be friends with this person.
I see.
You know, so what's been nice with this relationship is, you know, we already knew each other. So when feelings started, we could really grow from a higher place instead of growing from the bottom. So we were able to focus on like fine tuning our communication, and being in a relationship with two different people at the same time. Yes, we're a throuple, but I have to nurture each relationship. I'm really in 3 relationships. The one of us 3 as a whole, one with Mikey and one with Patty. And I have to find balance in all of those. So it's just making sure we're all, you know what, we are so good. We check in with each other, but we're always doing really well. We bring each other up. We appreciate those qualities. We all make each other really happy. And what it comes down to is they're like the brothers I never had. We're like family. So once you see each other like family, then there's like no stopping us.
When I was checking your profile a little bit before the interview, there was a picture there that you posted. You said they were both of them, and you said, I will always be grateful because you shared my love with you, share your love with me, something like that. I really liked it. I said, my God, that's amazing to hear that. Because, nowadays, gay guys, there is a lot of easy way of relationship, this and that.
Yeah.
I think when you have the trust, and as you said, it's a very important thing about you said, knowing the person very well. You've been like, you know each other for a year or so. So I think it's very important because you're going to be together with your friends, with your closest friend, best friends.
Yeah. Don't you want to be with your best friend?
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I forgot about that post. I mean, it's one of those things where when I met them, I looked up to them so much. I was like, that's the kind of relationship I want to be in. So I always admired what they had. And you got me tearing up.
Oh, that's sweet. That's sweet.
Yeah, no, I was like, that's the kind of relationship I want. And I never expected to be part of that specific relationship, So for them to be so open to allowing me to be part of that was just very rewarding and validating and all those things,
Sweet. They'll be very happy to watch the interview and to see that. But they know already anyway.
Yeah.
Next question, Trevor. Let's do it. There we go. Before the next question, so tell me a little bit about Deuts. What's the mechanism you found to create Deuts?
Well, Wade's a very interesting character. He's a little different. If you've seen the series, you see he is a very oddball. He was actually inspired by an Axe of Riches, Ray's character. And he's very introverted. His character is on the spectrum. So I actually did a little research. A cousin of mine is on the spectrum a little bit, and I know him very well. So I was able to kind of like tap into the way he thinks, the way he approaches situations. And I know several people on the spectrum, so I was able to kind of collect everything I learned from people. Yeah, I mean, it's really in the writing. Rich wrote an amazing script, but it was nice to play someone outside of myself. I really just kind of, it's hard to explain. I know, like, with people on the spectrum, they think very bulleted, and not necessarily exactly bulleted, but to compare it to how I think or you think, we can pick up on social cues where people on the spectrum don't always pick up on social cues. They're very organized in their thoughts. They're very literal and organized and almost calculated in their thoughts. So a lot of my lines and the way I would deliver things would be very just bulleted in a way where I'm not really saying it to get a reaction from you or even responding from something you would say, because there's less of that connection and more disconnect. So that was a little bit of things. Those are some things I worked on with Dwight's character, just so I could honor the character.
Saying that, Trevor, what's the biggest difference between Deuts and Trevor, and what's the biggest similarity between both of them?
Well, I'll go with the similarity first. We're both horn dogs. We definitely let our dick control our minds.
Oh
I'll
my
be
God.
honest.
I love your honesty. I love it.
When it comes to differences, you know, I think Dwight's character is a little needy. I'm a little less needy. I like to kind of take the back seat when it comes to stuff like that. Yeah, he's a little. He's some work. He needs a little extra attention. Where I'm a very independent person, a little less codependent.
See. All right. Next question for you is, what did you want to be growing up?
I wanted to be. So when I was younger, at first I wanted to be an architect. That was like in elementary school. And then I wanted to be a doctor. So that's actually the path that I started going down. I was a smart kid. I started 8th grade a year ahead. So by the time I was in my junior and senior year of high school, I was taking college level courses. So I graduated high school with almost a full semester of classes. All of my prerequisites were done by the time I went into college. So I was like, okay, I got this. Like, I was top 10 percentile of my class. I was like, I have the brains to do this, and I wanted to help people. I have a lot of empathy for mankind, and I was like, I can do this. You know, I'm an artist. I love to spend hours on meticulous things, you know, so I thought for sure I could cut someone open and sew them up and do all those things that I wanted to be a reconstructive surgeon. So I went to school at SUNY Geneseo, and I didn't get far before my life kind of took a left turn. You know, I was in the closet for 2/3 of my life, especially this time, and I was really in a dark place, really sad. And, you know, I had never planned on coming out, so I was just going to live this life secretly, like having this secret. And I ended up getting my heart broken by a girl who I had plans. You know, I would hope we would be together and have a family, and that didn't happen. She ended up having a baby with someone else, and it really broke my heart, you know, and I'm so happy for her, and she has a beautiful husband and 3 beautiful kids. And, obviously it all worked out for the best, because what kind of life would have been for her to be with me, you know, when it's not really a true authentic connection. You know, we had an amazing connection. We're still dear friends to this day. Yeah. But you know I wouldn't have been happy. And when that happened, my world kind of shattered. And she was kind of part of my plan, so I didn't know what to do. You know, when I lost her, I had to like change my plan. And that's when I had the opportunity to come to California and pursue my heart. And I said, you know what, this is something I need to do for myself. You know, I always loved doing theater. It was kind of a safe haven for me. I felt safe, even though I was the token straight guy. It was a safe place, and I loved it. So I decided to do something for myself for once, because I had always been doing things for other people.
And when you came out, Trevor, if you can share, did something happen, or you just thought, okay, from now on, I'm going to live my authentic self? Did something happen?
Yeah.
And saying that, did you have the support of your family?
Yeah, well, I lived in California for 3 years, and I was continuing down this heterosexual path, dating girls. I dated this girl at one of my jobs, at one of my restaurants I worked at, just to kind of play the game, convince people I was straight. You know, I knew I was gay, but I didn't want to be gay, and I didn't want to live a gay life. And I would even avoid driving down Santa Monica Boulevard in West Hollywood, because I was afraid of seeing gay people see me looking at them, or being in the eyes of temptation. You know, I would literally avoid driving down that street, because I didn't want to be around that, just to avoid my own uncomfortability. Because, you know, when we're put on the spot, we freeze up, we get uncomfortable, we get, you know, so I just avoided it. And I was working at this restaurant called the Polo Lounge at the Beverly Hills Hotel. Really nice, fine dining, swanky, gold button, black tie, silver tray. Every celebrity and politician under the sun. I have stories. But one of my colleagues, Michael, became one of my best friends, and it was like 3 months into working there. We're putting food in the computer. He's on his computer. I'm on this computer. We're talking. He's saying something about this weekend. Someone has boyfriend, and I'm like, boyfriend? You have a boyfriend? I had no idea. Like, no idea. Like, you think you know someone until like they drop this bomb on you. I was like, oh wow, this guy's really cool. I didn't know he was gay. You know, he didn't allow it to define who he was, and I thought that like once I come out gay, everyone's just gonna see me as this gay man. You know, and I was projecting my own insecurities and my own views of what gay was, and he kind of gave me the strength to like, wow, I can do that. Like, I can be like him, you know? So actually, he was the first person I told. I came out to him like a week later. I was helping him paint his bedroom. I'm handy. I like to do handy things. And I was like, I'm going to come over and help you paint. Little did he realize it was a coming out situation. And he didn't believe me when I told him. It was quite funny. He literally did not believe me. It took him like a half an hour to believe me. And, but it took me about like 5 minutes to get out. I told him I wanted to say something, and there was like silence, and I just couldn't get the words out. And it took me like 5 minutes to say I'm gay, because I knew it'd be the first time I say it out loud to someone, and I couldn't take that back.
But before that, did you have any sexual?
No, I never even I never even did double takes with guys, because I didn't want a stranger to think I was gay. So I was acting my whole life straight, which is why I'm such a good actor. But yeah, I had zero experience, zero interactions. I played the straight card day in and day out. And yeah, saying that to him was the first time I had accepted it and said it out loud. And then it was just downhill from there. It was amazing. You know, I had this fear that people in my life would reject me or leave me. And I think I thought the worst. You know, we all think the worst, you know, and kind of amplifies in our imagination, and it grows over time, and it kind of keeps us in the closet. And I'll be honest, it was the opposite of that. It was the best experience. Everyone around, I came out to all my coworkers at work the next day, started with them. And then I came out to all my friends in LA. And then I didn't want to tell anybody back in Buffalo until I told my parents. And I didn't want to tell them over the phone, so I told them in person. I had a camping trip planned 3 months after that. So I waited 3 months to tell my parents. And I told them during this camping trip. And they were definitely shocked. They were definitely surprised. You know, it took them a day or two to kind of settle in the reality of it, because they were a little taken back. And I think they were shocked. They were a little upset at first, because I started telling other people in my family right away, and it didn't give them a chance to like process it, because they weren't sure how to react to my relatives when they confronted them. It was like, oh, we heard about Trevor, we're so happy. And my parents were like, they were still processing it, you know?
Yeah.
But after a couple of days, they were so supportive.
Yeah, and the people that you told, like friends, and there was anyone who said, okay, I had a guess, or it's something that I wondered, or not? Everyone was in shock.
In regards to me?
Yeah, when you come in, people.
I definitely think they were surprised. I have my mom's sister, she has a partner, Janet. They're lesbians. They've been together since I was 3. So I knew my family would be accepting, because my Aunt Cheryl and Janet really broke the ice with my family when it came to that. Because we're very religious. We grew up Catholic. My grandma was on the path to become a nun. She was living in the convent before she met my grandfather, and he pulled her out, and they had 7 kids. So, yeah. So I have a massive family. And my Aunt Cheryl definitely broke the ice with my family in regards to being LGBT accepting. But you know, it's still different when it's your son. But my aunts mentioned, like, we thought you might be. They're like, we were just kind of waiting for you to come around. But they also understand that, you know, it's my choice to come out, and I come out in my time when I'm comfortable. You know, you can't really force someone out or pressure them to come out. Everyone's on their own journey.
Absolutely. Cool. Yeah. Next one. Let's do it, Trevor. Next question for you. is, what's the biggest difference between you and your partners?
Ooh, well, we are all so different. I think that's why it works. How are we different? It's a tough one.
Do you feel there's a lot of difference between or not?
Yeah, no, well, no, I have like a lot of, I guess how I could answer this is like I have more I have similarities with both of them. Let's see. Let me rephrase the question and answer it this way. What similarities do I have with oh God, I'm totally screwing this up.
Take your time.
Okay. Let's see. I would say like Mikey and I have a lot in common when it comes to like cleaning and organizing. Patty is more career driven, where he's always focused on the finances. So I'm not like a numbers person. So I guess that's how I'm different with Patty. He's all about numbers. He even has our own finance sheet for the three of us. So we balance it out at the end of the month and we see who owes what. Like when it comes to groceries or parties or traveling, flights, you know, all that stuff. Like say I'll buy them for us. We'll put them on the finance sheet and balance it out at the end of the month. Patty's all about that. Mikey is really good at just getting stuff done. You know, I'll come home and I'll see so many things done. I'm like, wow, thank you, because I was dreading maybe I'd have to do it. and I do help him. He and I have a lot in common when it comes to doing like chores around the house, doing the laundry, but Mikey is very organized. He's probably more organized than I am. He organized the fridge with all of the jellies in a row, and even the catch-all drawer is organized.
I could see you got a bit sentimental before when you were talking about them. Are you the most sentimental one when it comes to like, I don't know, some emotions or talking about some deep conversation?
Probably. I am more. I'm probably more emotional than all the two of them. Yeah. I'm very sensitive. I mean, we're all sensitive in our own ways too, because the more I get to know them, you know, I see what triggers each of them, and but yeah, I definitely like, for example, we had a friend pass away recently, and death is a very sad thing, but I was like bawling half the time, and they were doing very well at staying composed. And that was the first time I had that experience with them, you know, going to this memorial. And we talked about it afterwards. I was like, wow, I was much more emotional than I was expecting, you know, because I was mentally preparing myself for this memorial. You know, I've dealt with death before, and but yeah, I definitely tend to be the more emotional one. Yeah.
Very sweet. You're very sweet. Next question, Trevor. Let's do it. But before the next question, I was checking your profile, and there is two phrases that got my attention. The first one is Renaissance man. What do you mean by that? Yeah,
it kind of falls under it's like a Renaissance man. I'm very artistically talented. I like to sing, play piano, dance. I like to paint and draw. Renaissance man, just like the creative one.
And how about jack of all trades?
I can do many things.
For example?
My dad is very talented. He owns every tool known to man and can do pretty much anything with his hands, from like, he's a mechanic to construction to plumbing to wood to you name it, anything, any tool he can use, and he has. And I probably have as much talent than he has on his pinky. I learned probably just a very little bit of what he knows, but I can still do a lot of that. Like I cut hair. My mother cuts hair, so I've learned that through her. I don't know. It's kind of just a phrase I like to throw around, but I consider myself a jack of many trades.
Okay. Like that. Yeah. Next question is, what is your spirit animal?
My spirit animal, the bald eagle.
Tell me why.
It always resonated with me as a kid. And I thought of this recently. I was like, oh, I remember I used to be really big into bald eagles. It's the symbol of freedom in America, you know, so it's just being independent and free and kind of just flying on your own, you know, above the clouds. They're strong. They're so beautiful, but very just like these angelic creatures that stand alone, you know. Yeah.
Cool, very cool. Right.
Yeah, I like deer too.
Say again?
Deer.
Why?
Deer. They're known to represent kindness. Deer have always been in my life. Like growing up out in the country, we have 20 acres in the backyard of fields, and you could always see deer way back there. Sometimes they'd be close or far, but deer have always been around me in my life. Not so much in California because there's not a lot of deer out here, but they're just these creatures that we've always shared space with, you know, living out in the wilderness. Like deer have always been around, and we coexist. And I had this deep conversation with this friend who's very spiritual, and he has a deer tattoo on his chest, and he was explaining to me how it symbolizes kindness, and I really connected with that.
It's funny saying that. When I start organize the show, before I start doing the interviews, and when the world was upside down regarding the COVID crisis, I was literally under some trees with a friend, writing the questions, put the things all together, and there was so many deers around, and it was so nice to you know what I mean, be around them, and they were passing by, they were looking by, they was just amazing. I was telling my friends, my goodness, how amazing to create this project and have those deers around. They were literally so calm, they were passing by. Sometimes I forgot about them, and suddenly I was right, and suddenly I saw this deer passing by. I was like, oh my goodness, I've got goosebumps now saying that. It was amazing, like the energy. The energy.
Where?
Just
Where was this?
it was here in London, one of the parks. I was in the park in West London, and we were locked down. So I was literally spend the day in the park, just like organize the project, put things together before I started. And yes, I had experience with them, and it was just amazing to see them around. Just the energy was powerful.
That's so cool.
Right, Trevor, I have 3 questions left for you. Let's do it. Next question for you is, which movie had a big influence on you?
I love The Goonies. The Goonies was fun. It's an adventure, you know. I always wanted a friends group like that, and I don't think I ever did. So I always just really loved the camaraderie of the guys there, and finding treasure, which I always thought was awesome. Goonies was awesome.
Who is your favorite actor and actress?
Ryan Gosling's really cool. Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I love Blake Lively. Meryl Streep is a queen.
I met her once.
Oh, really?
I did. I was working in a 5-star hotel a few years ago, and when the Devil Wears Prada came out, so she was here in London promoting, the BAFTAs. The BAFTAs like the Oscars in the US, the BAFTAs. So I was working in this hotel, and I wake up. I start work very early. It was at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I was doing room service. And my manager, I started out, was very busy. He was like, William, just take this tray, please, this breakfast to room 112. I remember the room, 112. I said, okay. So I took the tray. I didn't know who was there. I rang the bell. I was ready to say, good morning, Miss Gama. Suddenly, Meryl Streep opened the door. I was like, oh, hello, Miss, good morning, Miss Gama. I've got your breakfast. How may I have? Oh, please come in. And I was walking with the tray in my hand, and she was walking behind me. And I was like, oh my goodness, it's just me and Mel Streep in this bedroom right now. I couldn't believe. I was like, oh my dear. And I was the living room, the lounge. So she sat down. I put the tray in the table, and I said to her, would you mind to sign the bill, please? And she was like, of course. And she signed the bill. And she said to me, can I ask you a favor? And inside I was like, oh my God, you can ask me anything.
Yeah.
And she was like, would it be possible to get the concierge guys to bring from me, the adapter? Because here in the UK, it's a different adapter for the charge, charge. Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, so absolutely. I'm going to ask my colleague from concierge to bring up to you. I said, okay, thanks so much. And I left the room. I forgot everything what I need to do for my day because I was like, oh my God. I was literally in a bedroom, just me and Mel Streep. I'll never forget it. So it was a moment in my life that I'll never forget.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
2 questions left for you. Let's do it. But before the next one, tell me, there's always a challenging part of your career. What's the most, you consider the most challenging part of being an actor?
Myself. Finding the motivation sometimes, because it's one of those careers where I'm an independent. What I put in was what I get out, but sometimes I'll be very unmotivated. It comes in ebbs and flows, but sometimes I feel very not that I don't believe in myself, but I feel very what's the word? Just a little defeated mentally sometimes, because my body's my tool. So I need to make sure my body's on par too. Not necessarily like physically, like not going to the gym, but just being mentally healthy. I found myself prioritizing boyfriends in the past, guys I would date, and they were a little toxic. They weren't the best. That's what dating's all about. Learning what's good for you, what's not good for you. Yeah. But it was very draining. And oftentimes it would deplete me and take away energy that I could have put towards my career. So it's learning to find the mental balance to do it. Because I also don't want to take a job when I'm not mentally sound. There was a time where I did this project. It was like a Warner Brothers, UCLA hybrid of a project. They took these graduating UCLA directors and they created this movie. Half the crew and cast and members were from Warner Brothers. It was really cool because they had a lot of money and we got to shoot on the Warner Brothers set. And our wardrobe stylist was from Warner Brothers, and the production quality was awesome. But I remember during our lunch break, I played one of the goons. I played the sidekick to the bad guy. The bad guy had these 2 goons who were like his security guards, and it was a fun part, small part, but a lot of fun. I remember during lunch break, that's an opportunity to hang out and connect with people. We all eat together. And I was going through this tough time. I was with the wrong person, and he got under my skin and was upset with me about the stupidest thing. And I ended up finding myself on the phone with him crying, and I was just really upset. And I was pissed off at myself for letting someone get in the way of my work. I was like, you for making me lose this opportunity, because I should be happy and present and vibing and of course radiating and talking about passions of mine with other people. I've been waiting for opportunities like this forever, and finally I have the opportunity, and I'm juggling this boy in my head. That was something that was an eye-opener for me. That was okay, I can't let this happen again. So just some of the biggest obstacles are just being in a healthy headspace. I do a lot of anxiety, so I've been working on that. I kind of took a break from the acting for a couple years, right before COVID and during COVID. The Disappointments was actually the last project I've shot in a while, just because I had been working on my mental health. And I just was like, I was just getting a lot of anxiety from a lot of people that I don't know that happen to know me, whether they follow me on social media or they know me from the bar that I work at, because I work at a pretty cool, busy bar here in LA. And, you know, I've been there for 9 years now. And, you know, I've cut my hours back to 2 days a week, which has really helped my mental health. You know, I had to identify, like, how can I fix this? How can I make it better? So I've cut my hours back, and fortunately I'm in a financial situation where I can cut my hours back because I have a commercial that's been paying my rent, and I have a national commercial here in the States. So that's been really great. I've been really fortunate to have that. But it's allowed me to focus on my mental health and, you know, kind of address it. But that's probably the biggest obstacle, is just finding that mental balance.
Very good.
Yeah.
Next question. Actually, when I ask this question, can you make any other accent, make up other accent, like British or Australian, any other?
It's especially on the spot. No, I can't.
That's all right. Next question for you is, who would you swap lives with for a day if you could?
It's a really great question. You, so I could be in London.
Oh my God.
I've always wanted to go.
Shall we swap for, let's say, one weekend, yeah? So I live your life for a weekend, you live my life for the weekend. Oh my God.
Sure.
I can't wait.
I've never crossed the pond yet.
So you never came to London before?
I've actually never left the country until 2 years ago when I went to Mexico. I grew up very poor, and then moving to California, I've been following the arts. And, you know, when you work in the arts, you're usually not making money. I've been like waiting tables and bartending, living paycheck to paycheck. Not until recently, since I've had the commercial, and I've been so grateful for that. And then COVID was, the silver lining of COVID is that, like, once things opened up and no one was working, I could travel. So I went to Mexico.
So let's do a deal. Let's swap lives for a week. So you can, because I'm originally from Brazil, so you can spend a few days here in London, and you can go to Brazil for another few days. And actually,
I love that.
And I'd like to be in your skin, in your face, when you are working the bar, when you are playing around your, you know, your scenes and everything, just for me to be around those beautiful, handsome guys.
We can do it somehow. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Ready for the last one, Trevor? Ready for the last question?
Yeah. Oh yeah, let's do it.
Last one. Right, but before the last question, people watch the interview. Would you like to know a little bit about the Disappointment, the series? What they're gonna expect about the series? It's a comedy. What's they gonna expect? What they're gonna bring to their life?
Comedy. It's a dark comedy. I want to, you know, Rich, the creator, had many options when it came to how to release this. We released it into short episodes, 11 short episodes. Originally, he was going to do 8 episodes. Honestly, it could have been a movie. It has a beginning, middle, and end with an arc and a climax. And it's one of those things where you really got to watch the first 30 minutes to get really invested into it, like any movie. You know, after the first 30 minutes, you're like, oh, now I'm invested. Now I want to know what happens to each character. The fact that it's split up into mini episodes where they're like 10 to 15 minutes long, you gotta get past the 3rd or 4th episode to get really invested. And I have friends like, oh yeah, I saw part of it. I saw the 1st or 2nd episode, but it wasn't really my thing. And I was like, give it more time. Like, keep watching it. It gets really good. I've read a lot of bad scripts, and when I read this script, I was laughing off. And when I finished it, I loved it. And I was like, this is something I want to do. The writing was so good. The characters are so great. Getty and James do such a great job in their characters. But it's definitely different. It's not your typical gay story. It's not a coming out story. It's not coping with being gay. It's 4 men dealing with real life issues, and how they're getting through it. Like, when I sent it to my parents, they loved it. My dad's like, I can connect and relate to most of the characters on here. You know, it was just really nice to hear that, especially from my parents, when I want their validation and support, you know. But it's funny. It's cute. It's a story that's never been told before. And the really cool thing is it's on YouTube. It's free for anyone around the world. So it's reached third world countries. It's reached like islands far off. It's cool. It's been seen over 1 million times by 1 million people. And it's just nice it's neat to be able to have reached out to so many people from around the world, you know. And now we have so much more support for second season, which we're in the works of doing right now. Rich is on the 4th episode. He's writing it. We were able to raise 87% of our goal, which is phenomenal. $87,000 of our $100,000 goal, which is enough to make it really well. We're gonna have longer episodes. That was one of the few complaints of the season. They're like, I wish there were longer episodes. I was like, me too, but it costs money. You can't just make longer episodes for free.
And before the last question, can you share like a funny story that happened to you during the set, something unexpected that, or maybe you couldn't remember the line, or maybe you fall somewhere, or something that you could share? One of the most forgettable one.
There was a funny, Rich and I rehearsed for 3 months prior to filming. So by the time it came to filming on set, we had it down. Like, our scenes were perfect. Because he's the director and he didn't want to be focusing on his acting while he was directing. So we took the 3 months to prepare. And that's kind of when I became his acting coach, because he's actually not an actor. I mean, he is now, but this was his first acting job. He had 2 other actors in mind, but they turned it down because of lack of funds. And his friends were like, Rich, you know, this character is pretty much based on you. We think you can do this. Like, we believe in you. You should do this. So his friends really rooted for him. And when I started working with him 3 months in advance, I was a little brutally honest with him on certain things. And I told him, like, hey, like, if you want to work on this, I'm happy to work on it with you. And because I have years and years of coaching and training. And so we worked on it. And it's funny because, you know, when I first got cast, he's the director, I'm the actor. We want to be professional, you know, but our characters do have a romantic connection.
Yeah.
And our characters kiss, you know, we show affection. So it was kind of awkward at the beginning because we're doing the scenes, but we're not like touching each other or kissing yet because we're trying to stay professional. You know what I mean? Like it was like this curve that we had to take, but like before we took that curve, there was a moment because like in the scene we're supposed to kiss and be affectionate, and I put my script down. I was like, Rich, we need to just make out. We just need to break the ice. I was like, because right now you are being respectful to me and I'm being respectful to you, and we're nervous because in a business professional setting you don't cross that line, but in this situation it's the exception because our characters are lovers.
Right.
And we can't just pretend. We have to like really embody it. You know what I mean? It's obvious when you see an actor pretending to do something, it looks like they're pretending to do something. But when they're really doing it, then that's believable. So we put our scripts down and I just started kissing him. We started kissing. And I was like, we need to get comfortable with this. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was like, we can't make it a thing. We can't be like, oh, we're going to do this now. Because then we were awkward around each other because we were trying to respect the other person. And I was like, I respect you, you respect me. This is for the art. As cheesy as that sounds, it really is for the art. And I remember that probably being like one of the funniest situations. And it was during the rehearsal process. And I think we stood in the kitchen and made out for like 5-10 minutes. It was really hot. But then having that experience, it looked more natural now. Whenever we touch each other, kiss each other, we weren't nervous because we had done it already.
Absolutely. Were you in a relationship at the time, or he was as well or not? Both of you were single at the time? When you started?
I was in a relationship, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Cool. Last question for you is, what your theme song be if you had your own show?
What would my theme song be?
Yeah, your theme song.
Oh God. That's a really good question. I wish you had given this me earlier. Think about it. My theme song. I like so much music. Theme song.
I'm sure of the interview. Like, I wish I had said that one. I wish I had said this one, you know?
I guess it depends on what my show would be.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
It's your show. You tell me.
I don't know. That's a tough one. Give me a second.
I can tell you if you want, or you can have a think, guys. Still is fine.
Because whenever I'm on the spot, I go blank and I can't think of anything.
Who is your favorite?
Which is why I've avoided most of your questions.
You just avoided one. You did very well. So tell me, like, who is your favorite artist? Let's go around.
Well, okay. I love country music.
Okay.
So I love like the 90s era of like Shania Twain and George Strait and Alan Jackson and Reba. I met Reba many times. She would come into the Polo Lounge and she would have lunch with her family, Kelly Clarkson, her son-in-law, and her husband, because Kelly Clarkson's her stepson and Kelly Clarkson's his husband, his wife. Anyways, I digress. I love country music. I love deep house music, but it's less vocal. I do love The Weeknd right now. His music's really good.
Yeah.
It would probably be a Weeknd song.
Very good. Again, the same hotel. I was on the lift, on the elevator. I was coming up from one of the floors, and the door opened. Somebody called the lift. When the lift opened, literally, Shania Twain and her husband just came in the lift where I was. And I was like, oh, good, Shania Twain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, at the time.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, hello, good morning. Good morning. And went down, they went to have breakfast. And I was like, okay. I was in a lift with Shania Twain. It was amazing.
Wow, that's
I
cool.
recognized her, actually. When she came out, I was looking at her. I was like, I think this one, I know her from somewhere. And after I found out she was Shania Twain. And her, I don't know if they're still together, but her boyfriend at the time was so tall and she was quite short. And I was like, wow, there is something interesting. Okay, it's not the end yet. Let's play now the word association.
Can I take a 2-minute bathroom break really quick?
Sure, of course.
I gotta go really bad. I'll be right back. Okay. Thank you.
Just made my day now. Last week I just reached 600 interviews on the show so far, and you are the first person who stopped the interview to go to the toilet. I love it.
I'm flattered. I was like, half the reason why I couldn't answer the last question is because I'm like holding my pee, and I'm like, God.
Right. Let's play now the word association game. Okay, I'm going to.
I actually thought of an answer for my theme song.
Please tell me now.
Because my pee was getting in the way of my thoughts.
Tell me.
There's this RuPaul song. I don't know if you watch RuPaul's Drag Race.
I never. I know which one. Yes, tell me.
It's become one of my favorite shows. My boyfriend Patrick and Mikey, they love the show, and they've kind of introduced me to it since we've been together. And I've known of it. I've always enjoyed it. It's hilarious. It's great entertainment. But now I really look forward to seeing it, and I invested in all the queens. But there was a song that RuPaul wrote, and it's a song she layers into the show for some of the runway looks, and it's called "The World Is Your Runway," and it's so cool. It's like the world is your runway. It's all very like transy sounding, and I don't know how to explain it, but it's really cool. And it's a metaphor, like the world is your runway. You know, like whenever you're outside in the world, walk your walk, stand tall, be you, be proud. Absolutely. And that kind of really resonated with me, you know.
Very good. There we go. Yeah.
All right, back to it.
Right, so let's play now the word association game. I'm going to give away some words. Just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking, okay? Family.
Love.
How about money?
Oh God, money. I know this should be fast. Money. Dress.
One word for love.
One word for love.
Yeah.
Warmth.
Life.
Life. Freedom.
Sex.
Love.
Religion.
Segregation.
Politics.
Segregation.
Fear.
An idea.
Friendship.
The best.
Desire.
Go for it.
Regret.
Learning.
Success.
I'm doing really bad at this.
No, there's no right or wrong. It's just what comes to your mind.
Fast enough.
It's okay.
Success.
In the edition, I'm gonna make you very fast. I'm gonna consider.
This is a warm-up round, right?
Yeah.
Success. The journey.
Good one. Wish.
Manifest.
Happiness.
Friendship.
One word for buffalo.
Word. Home.
How about California?
Second life.
Okay. How about USA? One word.
Gratitude.
Wow. One word for disappointment.
Gratitude.
One word for Deuts, your character.
Caring.
Interesting. And the last one now, acting. One word.
Acting is many things. And I say that only because, you know, I'm an actor professionally, but, you know, 2/3 of my life I was acting. And a lot of gay men have to find themselves acting to protect themselves. So it's a facade.
Okay. Let's pretend now I'm going to meet your lovely partners for a coffee. I'm going to meet both of them and I'm going to ask them, tell me the most beautiful thing about Trevor and tell me something that he still needs to work on, to improve on. What do you tell me?
They would tell you they love how I bring people together. I have the social skills of a doctor.
There you go. You don't want to be a doctor as a child, just put all together now, you see?
No, I have the ability to connect with all types of people. And it's something that they don't have as well as I do, so they appreciate that. And I'm very grateful for it too. Something to work on. Oof. Probably something we've said in recent conversations. Something to work on would be the way I word, the way I say things. You know, sometimes it's not necessarily the words I say, but the way I say them. I can really strike a chord where it hurts sometimes, whether it's my intention or not. You know, sometimes I can come off a little too honest, you know, and it can come across a little abrasive. I can be a little abrasive sometimes with my honesty. That's actually probably what they would say. They would say they love my honesty, and they would say I need to work on my honesty. It's the pros and cons of me, because they love how I'll just be very, like how I said, hey, can I use the bathroom? I have to pee.
I love it. I love it.
You're the first person to say that, but I was
Yeah.
like, I'm being honest. But sometimes, like, you know, I can say things to people that are a little too honest, you know, whether they can handle it or not. I think I could work on.
You need to find a balance.
Graceful balance, yeah.
Yeah. If I would ask the same question to your lovely parents, would be the same answer?
No, I don't think so, actually. What would my parents say? My parents would say they admire my drive.
Mm-hmm.
I've always had drive in the things I do. You know, like even the day I wanted to play piano, they're like, most parents have to force their kids to play an instrument, but you were like, I want to play this. And I picked it up and I rehearsed and I got good at it. And they were just, that's an example of maybe a way they'd be impressed by my drive. Like I always have a drive behind the things I do. I don't think a lot of people have drive behind the things they do. Something to work on. Probably not being so abrasive with how honest I'll say things.
Right, let's play now. Trevor and the Magic Box, and you can ask me a question. Trevor, you can ask me a question now.
Okay. So, let's start over. What has been your favorite interview of your past many interviews?
This one.
Shut up. You're just saying that.
Right, so it's interesting, the question, I love the question. But
except this one, anyone but this one.
Of course. This one is just like something special, something different. Eh? Right, I love the question, but at the same time it's very hard because I strongly believe that every interview, they are different. Yeah? The questions, they are different. People, they open up about different topics. It's so hard because...
Can I rephrase the question?
You can.
Which one still resonates with you? There's got to be an interview that resonates with you, that might have hit you personally, that maybe has touched you and has always been in a safe, secret place for you. Okay,
so now it's different. Something came to my mind straight away, and I'm gonna tell you now. It's kind of sad story, but it's meant to be this way. Right, on my first day when I started doing the interviews, you have no idea. I was like this, like, oh, I don't know how. I forgot to do this word association game in the end because I was so nervous. Anyway, so I invited five. I forgot one interview. I forgot to press the button to record. I just realized afterwards I didn't record the interview. Can you imagine? Look, so this day was the first day of my interviews. I had 5 interviews in the first day.
Wow.
I knew 3 people. No, I knew 3 people, and 2 of them I didn't know. I just invited randomly, like I invited you, but I didn't have the website, didn't have any material. So they just accepted. I was like, okay, let's do it. And this one I forgot to press the record. That's why I got so nervous. Anyway, so I invited 3 friends of mine. One, he lives in San Francisco, but he's French. The other one is French also, but he lives in France. The other one, it's a girl. She was working with me. She lives in Miami now. Beautiful, beautiful girl, Marian. And anyway, and the other one was Michael. Michael, he was working with me at the time before the lockdown. We were working together for 3 months only. Anyway, so we did the interview. I had like five people, and I was over the place, nervous and everything. So those people, they're very special for me because it was the first day I did the interview. Anyway, it's been since 2020 when I started. Anyway, so this year I went to Canada to visit my best friend to spend Christmas. And when I came back, I don't know if you realize, but I sometimes daily I put a banner with my guest of the day every morning. I posted, yeah. And I posted, and I also promote as well interviews in the past. I put the thumbnail just to promote the other interviews I've done in the past. So my best friend, his birthday is 23rd of January. And I came back home and I said, I'm going to post in the evening. I'm going to post one of the thumbnails of the old interviews. And I was looking for some of them, and I saw this one from Michael, my friend who was working with me at the time. And it was the first day I did the interview, and his dog came along as well. He was with his dog. It was a beautiful interview. So I posted on my social media, I posted on Instagram, and I also posted on Facebook as well. I'm gonna get a bit emotional now, but anyway, I posted and somebody made a comment, said, William, because the way I posted the interview with like, oh, let's watch the interview, this and that. And one person said to me, William, in private, I don't know if you know, but Michael passed away. He passed away in January. And this was like March, end of March. And I'm shaking. I start shaking. I thought, my goodness. And I couldn't believe, because when I was looking a little bit in his profile, I haven't talked to him for a few months. And I could see people posting things about, oh, I'm going to miss you, this kind of situation. And I started shaking because I was like, my goodness, what's happening? So when they realized that I didn't know, because the way I posted, like promote the interview, they sent me private message, William. I think that you don't know what's happening. But he killed himself. And I didn't know. And I was like, oh my goodness, I literally didn't know what to do. I was really sad, and I got a bit emotional as well, because he was so happy when he did the interview. And also, I knew he was going through a tough time with his relationship, but one of his best friends said, William, he hid very well, because no one would never think that he would do that. He was so full of life.
You never imagine they're going to.
That's the thing. We never know what's going on behind people's lives. Yeah, absolutely. And I was like, oh my goodness. So I had this moment with myself, and I literally, until now, I cannot believe that happened, because I couldn't see him doing that. He was such a beautiful spirit, you know what I mean? He loved animals. He was going every Saturday to help this organization of animals every Saturday. He had like 3 dogs in his place, 5 cats. He was full of animals around him, and I couldn't believe. But the other funny thing is, the day when he did that was the day when my best friend's his birthday, 23rd of January, when I find out. So it's something, Trevor, that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life, because it's the date where my best friend's birthday. And I'm always going to remember that. And oh my goodness, so I'm a bit now emotional, sorry. And so his friends start sending me message, William, your interview is going to be always there. And it's so beautiful to see him like sharing his point of views, sharing his beautiful, and now it's a very short interview, because when I started doing it, I just did like 12 minutes, 15 minutes, because nowadays like 1 hour, because people start, get more into the show, and people have so much to share about their lives. So short is quite impossible. So, but his memory is going to be always there, you know what I mean? And imagine his parents watched this interview, his family, his best friends, and they told me, said, William, he was so happy when he did the interview. And actually, I was organizing another one with him, because I want to do like a new season with my first guests. And he said to me, oh, William, of course, I want to do it again. I'm so happy now that the show is going on. You improved a lot. You are learning a lot. Yeah. And we didn't do it, but his interview is going to be always there. So that's what makes me happy, because whatever his family wants to see him, whatever his friends, it's going to be there. His interview. And actually, I'm going to send you the link for you to have a look, just a little bit of interview, because it's a beautiful memory. It's going to be there forever.
That's really sweet.
Oh my God, you put me in this. I was expecting that. Well done to you, Trevor. Well done to you. So yes, that was one interview that I will never forget. And it's going to be there forever in our memories. And not just mine, but his family, his, people.
And how amazing that you were able to create that for everyone to see,
Yeah. So this is my answer to you. So besides your interview, the special one, I've got this this emotional one that is going to be in my heart forever. So I'm so glad that we had that on my very first day of interviews. And he was, Trevor, did you have a good time to enjoy the interview?
Yeah, it was great. It took me a minute to warm up. I was a little nervous at the beginning, still dealing with my chills from being sick over here in California.
I want to tell you something. First of all, thank you so much for taking the time for the interview. And also, I must say, when I send a message to you, like I sent to so many people around the globe, I was expecting you to reply. And when I wake up in the morning, I saw your reply. And I just checked a little bit your profile again. I was like, oh my God, he replied to me. I couldn't believe, at least we couldn't believe that he would reply because, you know, and I was so happy. And I'm so glad we did the interview because I could see a little bit more of you. And you're very down to earth, you know, you're a very approachable person as well. And thanks so much for taking the time. Thanks for being sweet and also for opening your life, your private life, and some memories that you went through in your life. Thanks so much for that. I really appreciate that.
I appreciate you reaching out to me. I was flattered that you wanted to interview me. I mean, there's so many people, and I was like, sure, of course. I mean, if you want to get to know me, absolutely.
Thank you.
Do it. Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
But before you go, if you can share just a positive message or a positive quote, something that inspires you in life.
Yeah. There's something my mom always says. It's very simple. I even got a tattoo of it. It's right here. Make good choices.
There we go. Let's make good choices.
We deal with choices every day, and there's always a better choice. And, you know, where we are today is a collection of choices that we've made to get here. So Absolutely. If you keep making good choices, you really can't go wrong.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Trevor, it was a pleasure. Thanks so much.
Sure, cool.
Keep in touch. Good. Thanks so much. Regards to your family.
Thank you so much.
Okay? Good night.
You,
bye.
Pleasure.
Take care. Bye.
Thanks.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why would you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.